Welcome to Whisper Moro, where nightmares breathe and shadows whisper back. More than 3 million Americans work the graveyard shift, yet nearly 1 in 5 of them report unexplained events they can't explain. Some chalk it up to exhaustion, others to something far worse. Tonight, we're diving into bone-chilling accounts from real night shift workers, janitors, nurses, truckers, and security guards, who say something watches when the world sleeps. One story involves a hospital camera that caught movement in an empty, locked room. Have you ever worked the night shift? What's the creepiest thing you've experienced alone after midnight? Drop your story in the comments. We might feature it in the next one. The security monitor that glitched at 3:17 a.m. You expect weird things when working nights, but James had rules. Never ignore the monitors. As a security guard at a downtown office complex, his screens rarely showed anything, until one morning at exactly 3:17 a.m., the lobby camera fuzzed out just for 5 seconds, but when the footage replayed, there was someone standing behind the front desk. The problem? No one had entered or exited the building for hours, and, worst, he was sitting at the desk, alone. The figure never showed up on any other angles. Never trust a blind spot at night. The hospital room that always has visitors. Room 722 was always locked. A post-op recovery space that was decommissioned after a fire. Still, nurses reported lights flicking on at night and silhouettes shifting behind the frosted glass. When Sarah, a new night nurse, was sent to double-check the wing, she found the door slightly open. No keycard had accessed it. She walked in and instantly froze. The bed was made, with the monitor beeping steadily. But there was no one in the room, just the sound of breathing from the corner. Even empty rooms can host company. The janitor, who heard laughter in the elementary school basement. Paul took the night shift at the old elementary school for the quiet. Most of his work was done before midnight. But on Tuesdays, the boiler room needed checking, and that meant going down to the basement. He always dreaded it. One night, while walking the long hallway past the old storage room, he heard laughter. Children's laughter. The kind that bubbles and echoes, except this school hadn't had students for years. Was now an administrative building, and the lights were off. Silence is safer than misplaced joy. Truck stop with a phantom hitchhiker. Interstate 40 has its legends, but few are as disturbing as the man who walks backwards. Truckers say he appears on foggy nights near a specific truck stop in New Mexico, walking slowly, facing away from the road, thumb extended behind him. One driver, Luis, pulled over just once. The figure never turned, but the cab door opened anyway. Nothing got in, but the smell of gasoline and charred wood lingered for miles after. Days later, he found handprints on the inside of the passenger window. Not all travelers need a ride. The factory that turns on its machines after hours. Michelle was the overnight supervisor at a plastics plant. Nothing glamorous, just long stretches of silence broken by the hum of conveyor belts. One night, with production paused and all machines powered down, the cutters started worry. Not just one, all of them. Lights flickered, emergency alarms briefly glowed red. Then, silence. She reviewed the logs. No surge, no override, no explanation. But the timestamp chilled her. 3:33 a.m., the same hour it had happened the week before. Machines aren't supposed to remember things. If you're still watching, maybe you've felt it too. That strange pressure in the air when everything else is still. If any of these stories hit too close to home, you're not alone. Hit subscribe and share your creepiest late-night moment in the comments. The scariest one just might be featured in the next video. EMT teams, silent rider. During a quiet overnight shift, Marcus and Jen responded to a routine call, a fall in an apartment complex. The patient was stable, but halfway to the hospital, the heart monitor began beeping a second heartbeat. They checked their patient. Normal vitals. The machine showed another rhythm. Strong, steady, and unseen. Later, watching the dashcam, they saw the back door shut itself just before departure. No one had opened it. No one else was there, or was there. Sometimes help arrives, uninvited. The grocery store camera. Tom worked graveyard shift at a regional supermarket chain, mostly restocking, occasionally fixing freezer doors. Boring stuff. Until one night, the manager texted him a still frame from the security feed, a blurry figure standing in aisle 7. The problem? The store was locked. Tom had the only key, and he was alone. He checked the aisle immediately. No one there. But one cereal box lay on the floor, torn open, and his name had been scratched into the tile beneath it. Security footage doesn't always show who leaves. Checked in a guest that was already dead. A small highway motel. One key left. A man walks in at 1:11 a.m., soaking wet despite clear skies. Doesn't speak, just points at the ledger. The night clerk checks him in. Room 3. But an hour later, the owner calls in a panic. Police had just confirmed a fatal car crash. Victim, same man, same clothes, same ID, time of death. Around midnight, when they opened room 3, it was empty, the bed untouched. Except for the wet footprints leading out the window. The dead don't always stay where they're left. The nursing home bell. Every long-term care facility has its ghost stories, but Martha didn't believe in any of it until the call bell from room 109 rang just after 2 a.m. Problem. That room was gone, literally, demolished 6 months ago, during renovations. When she checked the call log, the alert showed active, just like any other. She went down the hallway anyway, just to see. The wall where room 109 once stood was cold and faintly humming. Rooms may vanish, but some still want to be heard. The gas station, restroom mirror. Jake was closing up a roadside gas station when he went to clean the restroom. No big deal until he looked up into the mirror and saw someone standing behind him. He turned. Nothing. Looked again. Still there. A tall figure in an old raincoat, unmoving. Jake sprinted out and checked the cameras. No one had entered the bathroom all night. And the mirror. It was removed the next day, but reappeared on the floor a week later. Intact. Reflections lie. Silence doesn't. Every night shift worker knows. The world feels different after midnight. Time slows, sounds stretch, and empty spaces seem to breathe. Maybe it's sleep deprivation. Or maybe it's that the veil really does thin when the sun goes down. From flickering monitors to rooms that shouldn't exist, these stories aren't just campfire tales, they're warnings. Reminders that when you're alone, you might not be.